Hi, I'm Chris, Application Specialist with WARDJet. We're up here at our water down facility. I'm going to take you over to the A-Series to go over its improvements in 2025 and also talk about preventative maintenance. Come with me. Here's our A-Series. We have our 2-foot by 4-foot cutting envelope with our AO612. We also offer a 4-foot by 4-foot cutting envelope. All the power of the rest of our water jets, just a much smaller format. We've redesigned our doors. So the enclosures come with a more robust door. We can still add the safety interlock switches to disable cutting when the doors are opened. Other additions, changes, we've increased the bulk feed hopper that come with the A-Series by 25%, so now it's around 100 pounds of abrasive can be loaded up at once. We've also changed the drive and motor systems to match the rest of our lineup with Delta drives and Delta motors. Let's get to the preventative maintenance. With this machine, we'd like you to perform that every 2 months or 300 hours. It's mainly cleaning and greasing the rails and racks with mobile grease. Specifically, we use mobile grease. It is a XHP 222. You can get it in blue or gray-black. You can find it on the cncshop.com. Let's get to it. All right, here we are on the side of the A-Series, looking at the side beam. Let's get into it. There's 3 screws, 3mm Allen wrench. You're gonna wanna move that out of the way, and then you'll see your linear rail and rack for the drive motor. You're gonna wanna take a lint-free rag and remove as much grease as you can. The more the merrier. The worry is that some of the garnet, some of the fines will get into the bellow and turn the grease into a grinding solution. So as important as re-greasing, we'll want to remove all the grease that we can. Using a brush to get into the rack would be helpful. However you do it, you will want to remove it. You can use denatured alcohol and get rid of any remaining film after you're done with that. And then you can go through and put just a tiny dab of grease every few inches on the bottom of the rack to help grease the pinion and gears of the rack. Now you'll see in here the Zerk fitting of the linear bearing. There'll be one on each side on the side rails. You're gonna wanna affix this little supplied grease fitting. It'll be in your consumables box to your grease gun. And then while pushing it in place, grease these little Zerks. They're not standard fittings. Just 1 or 2 pumps of grease is all you'll need. Then rub some grease on the linear rail to help keep it from corroding in the future. And that's all you'll need to do on the side beams. And then when you're done, obviously we'll reattach this with those 3 screws. Drive the motor towards the back and then service the front side of your side beams. Let's go on to the gantry. So here we are on the back side of the A-Series. We're going to take a look at the rack and rail back here to perform some preventative maintenance. We did remove the back side of the housing just to show you easier how to maintain this. Like the side, there's 3 screws holding the bellow on. It's a 3mm Allen wrench. We can push these out of the way for now. So with the bellows back, we're going to clean the rack and rail like we would on any of our rack and rail systems. We're going to use a lint-free rag. We're going to just remove all the grease, all the grime, all the dirt, especially the gantry. It tends to be the worst on this machine. Once you have everything cleaned off, we're going to apply a thin film of grease to the linear rails just to help protect them from the moisture that they're encapsulated in. and then just a little bit of grease on the teeth of the rack. The bearings over here, we have 2 on each side. We'll take our special grease fitting that comes with the machine and grease each of those with 1 to 2 pumps of grease. Once you've completed that, reattach the bellow, move it to the other side, and then complete the rest of this side. If you can, it's not a bad idea more often to have someone jogging the machine at somewhere around 20 inches a minute in the opposite direction that you're greasing from, to help encourage the grease to travel all the way through the linear bearing channels, to push out any of that abrasive infused grease. Feel free to do this with the bellows on, but it is easier to take them off. You will want to make sure that your bellows are in good condition when you're doing a PM. You don't want them to sag, because you want them to protect the rack and rail. You'll see I used the brush to apply grease. You want a nice thin film of grease on the entire rack and rail. The wipers from the bearing will probably push the majority of that grease out, but it's good to have some grease on the rails and rack that doesn't get used on a daily basis, just to help protect it from its environment. Let's work it that way, do that side. And we do the same thing over here. We'll take that one side off since we only want to clean this area. You can tell where most of the A-Series work has been done over here on this home side. Pretty typical. You'll see the grates are cut much faster on that side when that happens. There's a few schools of thought on that. So again, with the provided grease tip, we'll grease these non-standard Zerk fittings. Be sure that on the A-Series specifically, you use the grease adapter on your grease gun to try to get the grease into those smaller linear bearings as good as possible. Okay. All right, grease time. Get some grease on our brush. All the way to the end. Moisture will get in here. And we don't want any of that sitting on the rail, especially on the ends. So we're going to get some grease. We can just use the brush to apply a small amount of grease to the teeth of the rack. And then make sure to get the top. Help protect it from this environment it's encased in. And then it is beneficial to get the top of this linear rail as well, especially where the Z carriage housing doesn't travel. So the ends specifically. To fully PM this machine probably takes a couple hours for one person to do. And then I'm going to take these blunt ends, lock that top track back in place. All right. We install our bellows. So here we are on the front side of the machine, looking at our Z carriage. You won't use the special grease fitting anymore, regular Zerk fitting to grease the ball nut for the Z carriage. Just one pump, maybe two pumps in each one, slowly to grease that successfully. That wraps up greasing. We have the on-off actuator. It is in a normally closed position, so as long as your pump is off, your water command is off, we can take this airline off and put a drop or two of that pneumatic oil in there to grease the actuator, keep it from gumming up. There is a rebuild kit for this, and in an upcoming video, we'll go over how to rebuild the actuator as well. An important daily check. More of a daily check, you're going to want to make sure you're not leaking any of your weep holes. You can do this while cutting. to see if you see a drip, some steam coming out. You'll want to turn the pump off and tighten those fittings, or completely loosen those fittings and repair the cone of the high pressure line, possibly rethread it, recone it, put it back together. We always use blue goop. I love reiterating that. It is a thread lubricant to help keep the stainless parts from galling to each other. You'll see there's blue on all of our fittings here. Moving on. In a later video, we'll go over the on-off valve and how to rebuild that. You'll know you have a faulty on-off valve when water is dripping out or running out when your cutting head should be off. Continuing on, high pressure line. Whenever you see it leaking, or weeping rather, through the weep holes, you'll want to turn the pump off and tighten those. If you need to completely disconnect high pressure line, same with the orifice, anything from here back to the pump. If you loosen high pressure line, you will want to purge the air out. The purge process should always be done. It's quite important. We don't want to air hammer the gem in the cutting head. Water only or abrasive machines. To do that, you will just turn with the cutting head water on. You'll turn your pump on in low pressure, let the water come out for a while. You can manually toggle your on-off valve on and off a few times, and then leaving the output on, go to high pressure. So we're just starting the pump with the cutting head open to push out any air, and then we're toggling the output to kind of shake any little air bubbles out as well. With the smaller orifices, you'll kind of see the air coming out, and you'll better understand the process. So with the larger orifices, it's not as easy to see, but just as important. More of a weekly maintenance perspective, you're going to want to get to this breather here. It's the inline breather for your abrasive line. You're going to want to blow this out with compressed air. It's just like a stainless steel mesh. It forces the abrasive to here with the pressure from the pressure vessel, and then abrasive will gravity feed into here without the assistance of that pressure, because we don't want to add pressure to our gravity system, because it'll just push more abrasive and you'll see some inconsistencies in your cuts. It's important to find leaks before they get out of hand. You want to check all your weep holes, make sure the pump is off, locked out before you go to tighten them. They might need serviced. If you have to crack open a high pressure line for any reason, you'll want to purge the air out. Purging the air is just starting the pump with the cutting head already open. You'll want to start in low pressure and then work your way all the way up to high pressure while water is consistently flowing out so that you don't air hammer the orifice. You want to look at the pump daily to see if you have any hydraulic or water leaks in there as well. And while you're there, check the pre and post water filter gauges to see if you're within 10 psi. If you're above 10 psi, you're going to want to change your water filters. And don't forget, when you're working with high pressure lines, use blue goop. If you prefer, WARDJet can come perform your preventative maintenance for you. We offer plans on our website, cncshop.com. And with that, we will run a ball bar on your machine. Probably most importantly, it's a big advantage over us doing a preventative maintenance for you. And that's an electronic calibration process. We can see how square your machine is. We can see if there's backlash in any of your axes. And we'll use that information to get your machine as square and accurate as possible. We can tell you on a rack and pinion, we can re-engage pinions. On a ball screw machine, we can just inform you as to the tolerance of your ball screw. In addition to us coming out, if a WARDJet technician is on site performing PMs, they can tell you the condition of your machine overall. We can go over loading consumables. We could do some quick training. Any of the repair kits can be utilized to repair your machines. So during a preventative maintenance checks with WARDJet, a technician could fix, providing you have any of the repair kits, a leaky on-off valve. They can fix or attempt to fix a bad actuator, An abrasive mini hopper bladder can be easily replaced. But we charge, it's like a minimum 4 hours. So if somebody wants a PM, it's a minimum of 4 hours, which a PM in the X will take 4 hours. A PM on this, if the back panel is on, is probably pretty close to 4 hours. It's a huge pain to get up and down and up and down. And if you do want WARDJet to come out to perform your preventative maintenance, make sure to inform them of any other issues you're having. For instance, on-off valve is leaking, so that they can bring consumables with them to repair things like that, or a bladder for your mini hopper, or a new actuator, or an actuator rebuild kit. You can even add on a service to the pump. There are 3,000 and 6,000 hour kits, being as that those are bigger services. Just a reminder, it's better to catch inconsistencies before they become a problem. Plan your preventative maintenance, and if you need assistance, please reach out.
This is Chris. I'm the application specialist you guys saw in the video. Thanks for sitting through that. Sorry, we got a little redundant with the weep holes and purging air, but they are important steps. I don't see any questions, but I wanted to add a few things. It's always worthwhile to check your air pressure, especially at the cutting head, at the actuator, to make sure you have 70 to 80 PSI. I don't think I mentioned, but to remove the grease from the rack, I did use a brush to get in there to really get all of that cleaned out. In addition to that fitting you saw that I applied to the grease gun, we also send a little needle fitting that you can use. Might have more luck with that to push the little ball bearing and that Zerk fitting to the side and get grease in there with a little more success. I'm trying to put together quite a few of these videos this year, so let us know if there's any videos you'd like to see specifically. No, the brush I used, by the way, to clean the rack, clean the grease out, was just a pretty standard bristled brush. It was a stiffer brush to get into the rack, but just like a regular brush for applying stains or something like that. Also, I don't think I mentioned when purging air out of the water lines, the high pressure lines, you'll want to run the water for about 30 seconds in low pressure, then toggle the on-off signal, and then probably about 30 seconds in high pressure as well, toggling that water signal on and off to help shake loose any little air bubbles that have remained. All right, well, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.